I can't believe that all it took was 1 week to fix my sleep. I've just woken up very, very refreshed. And you know what? In 1 week, I have been able to learn how to fall asleep earlier, fall asleep quickly as soon as I go to bed. I'm down. I'm not like worrying, I'm not up all night. And I've been able to improve the quality of my sleep drastically. So in this video, you are going to be learning exactly how to do it. So enjoy the video and let me go back to sleep for a few more minutes and then I'll see you. All this started with one problem. Initially, I used to be up till 3 or 4 a.m. because I genuinely had some work, and eventually it turned into a habit, a bad habit. I found myself giving myself excuses to stay up late. The next day, when I had to wake up early and get to some work, the previous night I could not sleep. There were many times where I could not fall asleep quickly. So when I had to wake up early, a lot of times I used to wake up early with 2 to 3 hours of sleep and then get to work. And that was one main problem. The second problem was I started to look exhausted because even though I was sleeping for about 8 hours, because I used to sleep late, my quality of sleep went down drastically. So I decided once and for all that I was going to fix this. Because I had exams coming up, if I could not sleep early, then it would be tough. And that is how this video came to me. So I took 7 days. In 7 days, I said, you know what, I'm going to fix this sleep. I was successful. It was more effective than I thought it would be. Hence, I'm making a video. So in this video, you are going to be learning 4 main techniques that I used to help improve my quality of sleep, which can help you improve your quality of sleep as well. Without further ado, let's begin. The first technique that I used is playing around with light. What do I mean by playing around with light? The first part of playing around with light is where I got sunlight in daytime, in the mornings. Why? Why does this matter? I'll tell you what. This is a very, very powerful tip that you can do, a technique that you can use to improve your sleep. But why? See, nowadays, if you want to wake up in the morning, you set an alarm clock and then you wake up. But there was a time when there were no clocks, where people depended on their internal clocks to get up and get things done. So from the time before clocks, before all these like work culture where you have to wake up in the morning, 7 a.m., go to work and all that, we were just some savages living outside, killing, bringing food and then eating, right? Hunter-gatherer lifestyle. So from that point onwards, we had one clock, which we call as a biological clock, which was helping us wake up in the morning and sleep at night. And what determined this process was light. When sunlight came, they woke up in the morning and their body naturally woke them up with some chemical reactions by releasing certain hormones. And when there was a lack of light, when nightfall came, their body used to start producing something called as a melatonin, which would put them to sleep. Now, because of a very, very toxic lifestyle that we have, we don't really go outside. Especially with COVID and stuff, we are not getting as much light as we are supposed to. Now, the reason this is important is for this process to work, for you to produce certain chemicals to put you to sleep, and for you to produce certain chemicals to wake up in the morning, your body needs a big difference between how much darkness and how much light you get. Alright? Being indoors, just tube light or just some sunlight that comes through your window is not enough. It's not intense enough. So when you go outside and get sun, what happens is that difference is becoming bigger between dark and light. And as the difference becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, your process of putting you to sleep becomes a lot better. So going outside, getting the sunlight is very intense, which you can't compare to your window, light from your window or from tube lights. You improve that process. The second part about it is getting darkness at night. Now, one way to do this is to completely eliminate or remove any gadgets or any screen time about an hour and a half or about an hour before sleeping. Why is this so important? So this thing worked miraculously well for me. So there's something called as a blue light that comes from your phone, and when that hits your eye or it just falls on you, your body thinks that it's still daytime. It thinks, what, there's light and I can't put this body to sleep. I need to keep this body awake, which is why you're not able to fall asleep or even fall asleep quickly. So having about an hour or hour and a half time without any gadgets, without any screen time, is one way where you can prepare your body to sleep. Now for me, I personally I went to the extreme side and I chose complete darkness. 1.5 an hour complete darkness, all lights out. Just me sitting there, maybe listening to some music, or maybe I'm just sitting there doing some meditation, doing some breathing things to relax so that I could go to sleep a lot quicker. And this is something that started to work very well for me from day 3 itself. From day 3, my sleep improved drastically and I was able to fall asleep a lot quicker. I was surprised as to how quickly it started to work. Now this experiment, I've tried this 3 weeks back, this 7-day experiment, and to this day, it works extremely well. Now another part about this darkness as well is try to sleep in a room which is completely dark. If you have a habit of bed lamp or something like that, try switching off the bed lamp and sleeping. I can tell you that from many people that I've heard, after moving from just bed lamp to complete darkness, their sleep had improved. Second technique that I used is to eat 3 hours before bed and to eat lightly. There's this very, very famous quote, right? You would have heard about it. Breakfast like a king. Eat breakfast like a king. Eat your lunch like a prince. And eat your dinner like a beggar. Now look, I don't care if you eat your breakfast and lunch like a king or a prince. But one thing I can tell you is this. If you eat your dinner like a beggar, if you eat light, if you eat less, and if you eat about 3 hours before bedtime, your sleep will improve. This is something that I found instantly. I used to have heavy dinners, and then when I switched from eating heavy dinners to light dinners, I was able to fall asleep a lot quicker. I was able to fall asleep a lot more easily. Now one reason for this is this. For your body to relax, you must be really relaxed. You should not have any energy intensive processes running through your body, which is why you don't sleep after you have a heavy workout, or you don't go to sleep after you eat food, because digestion is something that it's a heavy process, right? For your blood moves to your digestive system and then it has to digest the food. It's a very, very energy intensive process, which means you may be able to kind of fall asleep, but not really deep sleep. So eating 3 hours before, 3 hours is like an average time that it takes for your food to get digested. So that will give you enough time to really, really sleep and relax. Now, when it comes to the eating less part, one problem is people with gastric, they're not able to sleep. There's a lot of gas, they're burping a lot. So when you eat lightly, this is also there in this Ayurveda. This concept is there in Ayurveda. When you eat, imagine your stomach can fill 4 parts. If you divide the stomach, your area where you can keep the food or for digestion, about 4 parts. Okay, if you can divide the whole thing into 4 parts, only 3 out of those 4 parts should be filled. Why? Because the 4th part is something that in case some gastric happens, some gas comes out, the empty space in your stomach will be able to accommodate it. You don't feel like you have to burp, or you don't feel like your stomach's like really bloated. So for that, eat less. So eating light, eating less will help you improve your sleep. This is something that I found from day one. The third technique that I used is this. Only go to sleep on the bed. Nothing else. Now we all have this habit of, sitting down, working on the bed or eating on the bed. It's a very, very bad habit. I'll tell you why. It can affect your sleep. Now, the best way to explain it is this. Many teachers or many trainers who teach productivity, who teach focus, who teach concentration, they tell you something. Very common tip you would hear. Always keep an area for your study or your work. If you have a corner place in your room to sit down and work or sit down and study, always keep that area only for that, nothing else. Why? Because as you keep doing it, as you keep only doing that activity, you kind of prepare your mind to get ready for it. So next time you sit in your seat, in the seat that where you always sit to work, you snap into that zone, that productive zone. You're not thinking much about entertainment, you're not thinking much about anything else. You're less likely to be distracted. Similarly, if you can sleep and do only sleep in that place, you are teaching your mind, you're teaching yourself that the activity associated with this location is only sleep, and it will actually improve your sleep. You can test this out. There were many days where I had heavy dinner, where I slept late, where I, even after the 7 days thing, where I slept I didn't have a like dark time an hour and a half before bedtime. I just used the phone and I slept instantly. As soon as I moved to the bed, I fell asleep. That's amazing. So for me, I have two parts of the bed. It's two beds combined together. Only on the left side I sleep. I do only sleeping. I make sure to not do anything. If I want to sit on the bed, if I want to sit down and work, I only do it on the right side of the bed. So if you can partition your bed, that works. If you don't want to partition your bed, then sit in your desk or sit on the floor, and only when you're going to sleep, sleep on the bed. Here's another way to use this as well. This is also a very popular technique. This also worked very well for me. The only reason the bed thing worked for me is because of another thing that I did. So there are times when you don't feel like you have to sleep. Your body is full of energy, your mind is thinking so much, just sitting on the bed, just looking up and then looking at the ceiling and just thinking about your future or thinking about various things. Especially at those times, make sure that you do this, is to get up, finish your thinking, finish whatever it is, sit somewhere else, and when you feel sleepy, go back to sleep. But you might be asking me, Abhishek, come on, I have work tomorrow, I have to fall asleep quickly, right? Well, in short term, yes, eventually you might fall asleep. But in long run, if you only use that bed for sleeping, because of the training, because of the conditioning, your sleep will be a lot better, a lot quicker in the long run. Fourth technique. This is the most important, but this is not short term. This technique is a bit more long term. The technique that I'm about to tell you is a technique that builds habit. I'm pretty sure you kind of know already what's coming, right? It is to sleep every day at the same time, or almost at the same time. Sleeping every day at the same time is very difficult. Sometimes you have work, sometimes other things come up. But as much as you can, if you maintain the same time, is what will begin to happen. You will begin to feel sleepy nearing to that time. So for this, I set my time that I would be going to sleep at about 1:30 a.m. which means an hour and a half before that, or about 1 hour before that, I had to shut down all the lights, switch off all the lights, no screen time. And I did this every single day for 7 days. And something amazing started to happen. By day 5, 6 and 7, I used to feel sleepy as soon as 12:45 came around. And I was like, wow, it's still 12:45. I used to be up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And now I feel sleepy. And it's been like, I already told you, it's been like 3 weeks before. It's been 3 weeks since I finished the challenge. And even today, when I maintain this at about 12:45, I feel sleepy. If I want to go to bed, I go to bed. If I have to do something else, I do something else. But it works very, very well. Even this in long term will help you sleep a lot quicker without overthinking. So if you felt like this video was informative, if you feel like it inspired you, it motivated you to try to work on your sleep, to improve your sleep, then leave a like and hit that subscribe button, because we have a lot more experiments like this coming up. That's the whole point of this channel. We'll try a lot of life improving experiments, and we will tell you about that result. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.